All right, you guys, we got another live stream. Please share, subscribe to this channel. Now we got breaking news that China is stalling strategy on the U.S. may try to weigh Trump out, expert warn, so that this might weigh out the Trump administration. To set up the big stage. Now, on a global scale, China's secret strategy is to place America as the global superpower. So China's policy is the 100 years of marathon of China's secret strategy to replace America as a global superpower. Because China, at the end of the day, they don't see America as a power anymore. Much as China's economy can be hurting, America's economy is hurting as well. So the two is facing, pain. So when we look at China's economy, we look at America's economy. See, all this have to do with turf war. China, has goods. China take care of her population. I think when it comes to China population and American population, I think China really take care of her population more than we take care of our population. So when it comes to China's, Communist parties is being challenged today if they don't strike a deal. So, when it comes to China, leader, and these delegations, we know that deal have to be struck sooner or later if there's going to be any deal here. But we see all this is a stall. We see Iran stall in America, because they're not going to allow the Trump administration, Donald Trump, to come in, invade, and take all their assets from them. See, we are in a break of a war, and everything is a stage on a global scale. China's policies is the secret of strategy to replace America as a global superpower, because China don't see America as a power anymore. Much of our economy is hurting. China's economy is hurting as well. And it's like both parties just going back and forth. And China, they want to install this out to try to wait on Trump. Actually, they want to stall this out to give more time, because they feel, well, in the next 3 years, will Trump be in office? So China's stalling strategy on the U.S. may try to wait on the Trump administration to some, in other words, to wait on the Trump administration to be wear out. In other words, let's roll this clip.
As I understand it, the Chinese economy is hurting right now. And number two, if they actually want to go with the United States in a tariff war, because most of these other countries want to meet with President some kind of deal. Apparently China does not, or at least they want to save face. They don't want to. How's that going to wind up for China?
Well, it's a big risk for China if they make concessions and try to get President Trump off their back. The risk is their economy will be even slower in its growth rate. And the politics will be that there'll be challengers to Xi Jinping that he's been too soft on the Americans and he's a coward. This has happened before in Chinese history. The Chinese Communist Party has what they call the 10 big struggles. And each time the party chairman was kicked out, sometimes murdered. So that's one side for Xi Jinping to be thinking about. Should I meet President Trump halfway, head off a trade war? Or the other choice entirely is be tough. Do not give anything. And Xi Jinping has a record of wanting to tell what he calls full South, Mark. That's like 3 billion people. He wants to portray China as an honest sort of advocate of fairness for the global.
See, Xi Jinping, you know, he want to set China up on this global scale because, you know, America at some point they're going to have to, you know what I mean? They're going to have to come to China. China, in other words, they don't want to come to America. In other words, you have these countries, they don't want to come to America. They're waiting for America to come to them. You know, buy up some of our goods, buy up some of our stocks. But we're not coming to negotiate with you. So don't you see that when it comes to China's leader, they stalling this out? That's why they got 90 days on this tariff war on goods that China has. They know that 80% of our goods come out of China. And China is playing this game on America, taking Trump and his administration a joke, man. That's why, you know what I mean? You think that, you know, China is gonna look at America and be like, oh, take America serious? Come on, they got a 90-day period. And then when they go back to the drawing board, you know what I mean, how things going to be, man. Because we look at our global scale, man, everything's being set up on the stage. Don't y'all see the buildup? All this is a buildup right now. Nations is rising. You know what I mean? And you're seeing things about to just escalate.
South. That means less money for people like you and me who live in the global north. So there's a big incentive to Xi Jinping to be tough, to do nothing, and to steer things around like he did the first time back in 2017. He got talks started with delegations. You remember Bob Lighthizer, the Chinese side was headed by a guy named Liu He. In that case, there were 13 rounds, Mark.
See, Xi Jinping have negotiation, you know what I mean, delegations. Because at some point they want to see if America going to come and buy their stocks, buy their trades. China have a population, you know what I mean, China's population is just as our population. Just as big as, you know what I mean, our population, man. So, you know, saying all this now, you know what I mean, why you think the Chinese leaders stalling this out, man? They're not, you know what I mean? In other words, they're not taking Trump serious, man. They taking Trump, the president, a joke, man. They think President Trump is a joke, man. So like I said, you guys, man, make sure you guys subscribe to this channel, share this video, man. We out.